Everyone, it's time to make time for science, and I am not going to let go of this solar eclipse thing. I know that I've posted a couple times about it, but I wanted to demonstrate something that hopefully, I've never tried this exact thing before, but hopefully it shows you just how amazing that total solar eclipses are. And I'm going to show you this, and hopefully it's going to work. I'm going to show you this with my fire that's going to represent the sun. And then I'm also going to use some fruits and vegetables to do this. Just like I like to do with my kids' science course, I always like to use things that are just around the house so you don't need fancy special equipment. So it's just way more accessible that way, right? So. And speaking of which, I'm going to have science camps over winter break. I'll try to remember to talk more about that at the end. But in any case, let's think about this. A full solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse, what is that? That is where we have the sun, and then the moon is blocking the sun from our point of view from the earth, right? Okay. So the moon, what we see is that it perfectly eclipses the sun. And the serendipity of that, I cannot fully express. And so let me just show you this. So let's say that the moon is a certain distance from the sun, so that it does perfectly eclipse it. And this is what I'm going to try to do with this apple, is that I'm going to try to eclipse the fire behind me. I am going to allow just a little bit of what the corona is, right? We have the sun, and then it has those flares that come up. That's the corona. So I'll let a little bit of those flames show, but this apple is the perfect size, and I put it in the right distance so that it covers up the sun, so to speak. Okay, imagine if the moon were a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm going to use my cutie here, but I'm going to keep it the same distance, okay? So I'm going to put down my apple and replace it with the cutie. And you see, we see a whole bunch of the fire there, okay? So if the moon were a little bit smaller than it actually is, we would still see a lot of the sun, and the sky would not go dark, and it would be really bright. We wouldn't be able to look at it, and we wouldn't be able to see that. It would be just covered up, a big dot in the middle of the sun, but it would still be really bright. And it wouldn't be that experience that we get where it's perfectly eclipsed. Okay, so let's go the other direction. Let's imagine instead we have a moon that's bigger than what the moon is. All right, so I'm going to use this thing. I don't even know what it's called. Okay, so same distance. I have it the same distance as I had the cutie and the apple. Okay, but now we have this this monster thing, and we don't see anything. We don't see the corona. We just see it's completely covering it up. So the sky would go dark. If we had a moon that was bigger than what our moon is, we would totally have that experience. The sky would go dark, and that would be pretty cool. But we would not see the corona. There are physicists, there are corona astronomers that study the corona of the sun, and they can only do it every time there is a full solar eclipse. That's their only opportunity. So they have to travel, they have to make sure they have all their equipment ready and everything like that to be able to fully understand the sun. That is still the best way to get information. And sometimes in some of the studies they do, it is the only way to see some of the things that they need to see with the corona. And that is because of the perfectly aligned, the alignment of not only the alignment of the sun and the moon and the earth, but the size of the moon and the distance. Now, this is pretty wild, is that the moon is actually slowly getting further and further away from Earth. And so there will come a day when we will no longer have full solar eclipses because the moon will be further away. It's going to be like our cutie. It's going to be like that where it's not all the way covering it up. And by the way, that does happen sometimes because the earth and the moon and the sun do They were not always perfectly the exact same distance from each other. We are actually, the Earth is a little bit closer to the sun in January than it is in July, which is kind of interesting. But in any case, that someday there will be none of these magnificent sights that we see when you are in a total solar eclipse. So it's pretty magical. Solar eclipses, full solar eclipses, total full solar eclipses are really just one of my favorite things, I would say, in the world, but it's otherworldly, right? So I just wanted to share that. This is a demonstration. It's similar to a project that we did in Science Rockstar Kids in my science program. We did this kind of trying to eclipse things. I can't say it's the best project that I've devised, but hopefully it got the point across a little bit. I'm always tweaking the project ideas that I have and redoing them. And one thing that I did is I asked all the families that are in my program, what were your favorite projects that we did this fall together? We meet once a week and we do all this together. What are your favorites? And they said they loved the DNA project and they loved the slime. We did an actual investigation of slime. So it was beyond just making it, playing with it. We did some chemical investigations of it. And so I decided to take those two favorites, and I'm going to be offering those as in a little mini science camp during winter break. And so on Monday and Tuesday, December 28th and 29th, I'm going to be doing that with people. And so it's $10 a pop if you want to join. I'll put a link below to that, but just super fun stuff. And I've gotten just really great feedback. One of my families, Crystal, the mom, said that her kids were engaged the whole time and it didn't even feel like they were on Zoom. So that was quite a big compliment, and thank you, Crystal, for that. And I just love it. I love coming up with the projects. I love doing it with the kids. And someday it'll be in person, but for now, we do what we can and we make Zoom fun. And we always bring Griffin in, right, Griff? I have a little Griff cam. Griffin, come here. I have a little Griff cam, and I bring Griffin in, and so he can join as well. So, all right, that's my Make Time for Science for today, and I hope you are all having a wonderful Wednesday, and I'll see you all again soon, I'm sure. And in the meantime, make time for science.